So today we are looking at similes and metaphors. Has anybody talked about similes or metaphors before? Do those words sound familiar to you, or is this something that's totally brand new? Santiago, can you please mute? All right, so a simile, let's read. It's a type of figurative language, which means you're not going to take it for exactly what they're saying. So Pedro says, another case closed. Sherlock, you sure are as clever as a fox. So you are as clever as a fox. So is Pedro saying that Sherlock's a fox? Nope. Sherlock says, thanks, Pedro. Your help was much appreciated. You, my friend, have the heart of a lion. So does that mean that Pedro has a lion's heart? It would appear that we are talking in non-literal language again. Do you recognize these forms of figurative language, detective? So non-literal means not literal. Literal means exactly. So if I said, you are a lion, that means I'm telling you you are exactly a lion. But non-literal would mean it's not exactly like that. It's using something that has a certain characteristic and applying it to something else. So two of those figurative language types today that we're going to talk about are similes and metaphors. So we have a bunch of them here. A simile is where you use figurative language and you use the words like or as. And a metaphor just says it directly. So an example of a simile is, it smelled as sweet as pie, because we have that word as right there. But a metaphor, he is feeling blue today. Does that mean that his whole body is the color blue? Probably not. The baby is a bundle of joy. His heart is as cold as ice. So remember, similes we use like or as. She swam like a fish. Does that mean she turned into a fish and started swimming? No, probably not. She is a night owl. The lake was a mirror. The poppies stand tall like soldiers ready for battle. So here's one that has the word like. He was as brave as a lion. And you are my sunshine. Santiago, can you please mute?
Mom, why'd you post this? Mommy.
So let's take a look at the definitions a little bit more so we can make sure that we understand when we're trying to use similes or metaphors. So a simile is a figure of speech that directly compares two different things. And it uses like or as, or like and as. You're usually not going to find like and as, but it'll use like or as to compare two things. So like Sherlock said, he has the heart, Pedro said he was as clever as a fox. So he's comparing Sherlock to a fox. Now, if you know anything about foxes, is they tend to be very clever and cunning and kind of up to things and sneaky. So he's not saying Sherlock is a fox. He's saying that he has some characteristics that are similar to a fox. So that's how he's comparing them. And then we have a metaphor, which again is another figure of speech that indirectly compares two unlike things. So indirectly means not direct. Direct means exactly. So metaphors will compare two things indirectly by stating that it is something. So in a metaphor, we'll usually see is. So does that mean anytime we see a sentence and we see the words like or as, oh, that's a simile? No, because those words are used in our language and our writing, all different kinds of places. Does that mean every time we see the word is that it's going to be a metaphor? No, because is used in all different parts of our language. It just means when we see a figure of speech and when they're comparing two things, that's when we can identify a simile or a metaphor. So here's some more examples of a simile. So remember they use like or as. So he eats like a pig. Does that mean he turns into a pig? No. What do you think that means, he eats like a pig? Angel, what do you think?
He eats very messily.
He eats very messily. Well said, yes. You can see how he's got food, because if you think of a pig eating, they just root around in the food and the dirt. They don't care if they get dirt all over them. All right, how about this one? Your eyes are like emeralds. Emerald is a type of jewel that's green. So if it's a jewel, what do we usually know about jewels? Sometimes they're shiny and sparkly and usually in jewelry. So if we said your eyes are like emeralds, what do you think that would mean? Ricky?
They're like bright green.
Yeah, bright green. Doesn't mean that her eyes turned into jewels all of a sudden. Just means that you can see from the picture they're a bright green, comparing it to the emerald jewel, which is a bright green. All right, and then she was as tall as a giraffe. That's pretty tall. She must be gigantically tall. Or what is this simile telling us? What does it mean when she's as tall as a giraffe? What are they trying to tell us? Salvador? She's pretty tall. Does that mean she's as tall as a giraffe? No, I don't know if you guys have been to the Phoenix Zoo here, but the giraffes are one of the first enclosures that you see, and those guys are pretty stinking tall. And they even have, I don't know now how they run the zoo with COVID and everything, but I know when my daughters are little, we could take them there and you could feed the giraffes. So they'd had this platform that was really high up, and you got to go over to the edge, and the giraffe licked your hand with their tongue and ate the food. Okay, so now let's look at metaphors. So remember, metaphors still compare two things, but it does not use the words like or as. It usually says is or was. So in this one, it says he is a total pig. Now, does that mean he turned into a pig now? Nope. It's just saying, yep, he's messy when he eats his food. Love is a flower. Is love a flower? No. Sometimes when people want to show you they love you, do they give you flowers? Yeah, like people get flowers, especially like on Valentine's Day or their birthday. So it's kind of showing that love, it could be a symbol, but that doesn't mean that all of a sudden the word love means flower now. And then here's our last example of a metaphor. She was a shining star. What does that mean? She was a shining star. Bloop, she turned into a star and went up into the sky. Charlie, what do you think?
She was so good at something and they think she's a shining star.
Yeah, she was so good at something. Maybe she just finished a play, because sometimes, famous people or people that perform, they call them a star because they're really good at what they do and you see them everywhere. Good. I think you guys are getting the hang of these. So here's some other similes. Cool as a cucumber. Did he turn into a cucumber? No. Cucumbers are something that usually is kept in the refrigerator and can be cool. As proud as a peacock. What do we know about peacocks? Yeah, Angel, I see you flaring your arms out. They have those big feathers that they show. They want to show off to everybody how pretty they are. Strong like Hercules. I know Disney made a Hercules cartoon. There used to be a show about Hercules. Hercules is very, 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 very strong. So let's look at some metaphors. He is a walking dictionary. Oh, that might be cool. Does that mean he turned into a dictionary and it's a book walking around on legs? No, what might that one mean? Angel, what do you think?
He knows a lot.
Good. He knows a lot because a dictionary usually has a lot of information for us. It can help us know how to spell words. It can help us give the definition of words. It can sometimes give us a synonym or an antonym. So a person, if you say they're a walking dictionary, probably means they know a lot of information. What about this one? The computer was a dinosaur. What do you think? Carmine, what do you think about that one? Did I lose you? Ricky, what do you think?
It's not like actual dinosaur, but it seems like it has a picture of one.
Okay, maybe. What do we know about dinosaurs? Are they still alive today? Nope. Salvador, what do we know?
They are extinct.
They are extinct. So you guys would probably say, so if you guys ever saw one of the first computers back in the 80s, they filled up an entire room. So picture your living room or your classroom. The computer filled up that whole space. And now you have a computer. This little thing, like a phone, has more processing power than that computer that took up the whole giant room. Mind blown, right? Crazy. So if you say this computer's a dinosaur, it means it's really old and probably doesn't work well. Okay, so sometimes when we see a simile or metaphor, we might not understand, so we can go back and use those context clues. Remember the words around it to help us understand the meaning. So let's go back to where Pedro confidently opened the door to the dark attic so that he and Sherlock could search for clues. He had the heart of a lion. First of all, is this a simile or a metaphor? He had the heart of a lion. Remember, a simile will use like or as, and a metaphor just compares two things without like or as. I saw someone's hand up. Who was it? What do you think? Who thinks it's a simile? Give me thumbs up. Who thinks it's a metaphor? Thumbs up. I'm not seeing very many thumbs. So there's no like or as, so this one would be a metaphor. Now, what do you think it means? He had the heart of a lion. He had a bad heart and they did a transplant and they took a lion's heart and put it in him. That'd be pretty cool. Kaylin, I see you shaking your head no. What do you think it might mean?
That he was brave.
Good, yeah. He's really brave because think of a lion. Lions are big and intimidating and don't seem to be scared of anything. So yeah, he had the heart of a lion means he was really brave. He wasn't scared to go in there. All right, here's one. Her eyes were blue like two circles. Simile or metaphor? Stop in the chat, please, unless you're talking about what we're learning. Simile or metaphor? We see this word that tells us what? When we see the word like or as, it's a simile. And her eyes were two blue circles. Now this one might be kind of like, blue circles, okay, maybe she has blue eyes. But this is one where we can make it a little bit better. So this example compares two things that are somewhat alike, but the comparison is very weak, so it's not very good, it's not strong. So a better simile might be, her eyes were like deep ocean water. Does that give you a better picture in your head? Yeah, so I think of the ocean, and I know in the ocean, the deeper you go, the darker it seems to get because there's less light in there. So I'm going, oh wow, yeah, her eyes must be really, really blue. All right, let's take, as soon as this loads, I look at a couple more. So right here, Holmes is a moral compass. So first of all, is this a simile or a metaphor? Let's do thumbs up for simile, thumbs down for metaphor. What do you think? Holmes is a moral compass. Oops. Go away. Is it a simile? Nope, because they don't have like or as, so this would be a metaphor. In this one, Holmes is always wanting to do the right thing. So if you think of a compass, I don't know how many of you really had experience with a compass. I haven't a whole lot in my life, other than the one in my car. But a compass tells you which direction to go. So it helps you go the right way. So in this case, it's saying that Holmes always wants to do the right thing. So here, Sherlock is as observant as an owl. Simile or metaphor? Ricky, what do you think?
It's a metaphor because it has is in it.
Okay. Sherlock is as observant as an owl. We have is and as in this one. So they're really trying to throw us for a loop. So I like, Ricky, how you saw the is, but down here where they have the as is where it makes it a simile. But you were correct in your thinking to notice that. So this one could be tricky. But saying he's as observant as an owl, what do we know about owls? Well, they're out at night, and it seems like they're always seeing things. So nothing escapes his eye. So he sees everything. All right, one more. The detective's memory is a steel trap. What do we think? Simile or metaphor? Sal, what do you think?
I think it means that he has good memory and he doesn't forget.
Yeah, good. Do you think it's a simile or a metaphor?
Metaphor.
Metaphor, good, because that's where we do see the is, but there's no other like or as in it. So yeah, metaphor. Steel trap, if you get something stuck in a steel trap, it's staying there for a long time. So to say that his memory is a steel trap means that he doesn't forget a thing. Good.